Okay, let's talk about AI. But forget the whole robot apocalypse for a second. There's this new book by Zack Kass, The Next Renaissance, and it suggests that all our doom and gloom thinking about AI, well, it might be making us miss the bigger picture, a much bigger picture. So let's dive in and unpack what he means.
I mean, does that quote hit home for you? You hear it all the time, right? It's this background hum of anxiety. You see it on the news, you hear it from your friends, this quiet feeling that maybe, just maybe, our best days are already in the rearview mirror.
But what if that feeling, that anxiety, isn't telling the whole story? Kassav makes this really compelling case that history actually gives us a totally different perspective, a much more hopeful one, in fact. He thinks the past holds a kind of roadmap for what we're going through right now.
Okay, so before we can get to the hopeful part, we've got to talk about the doom and gloom. Why are we so drawn to dystopian stories? Well, Kass argues it's not just you, it's actually baked right into our brains. We're kind of wired for bad news, and there are some fascinating reasons why.
So check this out. Our brains have these little glitches, these built-in biases. There's the negativity bias, which means we're always scanning for what could go wrong. Then there's the status quo bias. We just don't like change, even if it's good for us. And who doesn't do this? Rosy retrospection, thinking the good old days were way better than they actually were. You mix all that with screaming headlines that are designed to grab our attention, and yeah, you've got a perfect cocktail for pessimism.
But here's the kicker. Our feelings often don't match the facts. While we're all focused on the latest crisis, the data paints a very different picture. Just look at this chart. In only 20 years, between 1997 and 2017, the number of people living in extreme poverty worldwide was slashed by more than 2/3. It went from almost 30% down to just 9%. That's an absolutely mind-blowing achievement. But you probably didn't see that on the front page, did you?
And this is what brings us to the absolute heart of Kass's whole idea. He says, look, what we're feeling right now, all this chaos and disruption, it's not new. We've been here before. He calls it a modern late Middle Ages. It feels like an ending, but he argues it's actually the messy, chaotic beginning of something incredible.
And when you think about it, the parallel is kinda uncanny. Back in the late Middle Ages, what did they have? Widespread plague, constant war, new technologies like the compass and the plow that were turning society upside down. Sound familiar at all? We've just lived through a global pandemic, we've got geopolitical turmoil everywhere, and AI is, well, it's rewriting the rules for everything. Kass's point is that what seemed like the end of the world back then was really just the painful birth of the Renaissance.
Which leads us to his big, punchy idea. He calls it the Renaissance. Get it? A new renaissance, a new era of human flourishing. But this time, the revolutionary engine isn't the printing press. It's something even more fundamental. It's a force that's about to make intelligence abundant.
So what exactly is this new engine? What does it mean for intelligence to be abundant? Well, Kass has a term for it, unmetered intelligence. And you really need to grasp this concept to see the scale of the change he's talking about. It's actually a pretty simple idea when you break it down. Think about electricity. You don't ration it out, right? You just flip a switch and it's there. Or the internet, it's just on. It's utility. Unmetered intelligence is the idea that AI is becoming exactly that, a background utility, flowing everywhere like water or electricity, powering everything without us even having to think about it. And the speed at which this is happening is just wild. I mean, look at these numbers. It took electricity over 40 years to get into most homes. The internet, which felt lightning fast, took over 18 years. AI? It's on track to hit that same adoption level in less than 5 years. This is not a normal tech trend. This is like watching a century of progress happen on fast forward.
So, what's fueling this incredible acceleration? It really boils down to economics. It's the cost. Since 2019, the cost of the computing power needed to run these massive AI models has dropped by almost 99%. Let that sink in. When something that powerful gets that cheap, that fast, it changes everything. It's what flips the switch, turning intelligence from something scarce into something that's everywhere.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty world-changing, but we have to be realistic here. This kind of power isn't automatically a force for good. Kass is really clear about this. Unmetered intelligence is just an amplifier. It takes whatever we point it at, our best intentions and our worst ones, and it cranks up the volume.
And you can see the two sides of that coin pretty clearly. The promise? It's huge. We're talking about discovering new drugs in record time, making everything cheaper through efficiency, and unlocking levels of human creativity we can't even imagine. But then there's the other side, the peril. What if it just makes us lazy and dumb?
The rise of idiocracy. What if we get lost in AI-generated worlds and forget what's real? And the scariest one? What happens when this power gets into the wrong hands?
And this isn't some far-off future stuff. To make the promise side real, just look at what's happening in biology right now. For decades, humanity had managed to map about 200,000 protein structures. That was it. Then Google's AlphaFold AI comes along, and in a short time, it predicts the structure of over 200 million of them. That's not just an improvement. It's a complete paradigm shift. It's like going from walking to teleporting.
So this brings up the big question, right? If AI is going to handle all the number crunching and analytical work, what's left for us? And honestly, this is where Kass's argument gets really inspiring. It's not about trying to outthink the machine. The future is about becoming more human, not less.
Think about it. For a long, long time, the basis of competition was raw brain power. How much could you memorize? How quickly could you solve a problem? But when you have a tool that can do that infinitely better and faster, that's just not the game anymore. The whole definition of valuable is shifting. It's moving away from what we can analyze and towards things that, well, machines just can't do.
So what are these new premium skills? They're the things we've probably always undervalued. Things like empathy and compassion, true out-of-the-box creativity, good old-fashioned judgment, and agency, just the simple human drive to get something done. According to Kass, this is the new currency. In the age of AI, the most valuable thing you can be is human.
And that leaves us with this final, powerful question. Is all this technology going to expand what it means to be human, or will it diminish us? The thing is, the tech itself doesn't have an opinion. It's just a tool. We're the ones holding it. The tools for this new renaissance are here. The real question is, what are we going to build?